Hello. Welcome to our little shop. It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood, and we have what I believe to be a 58 Gibson Southern Jumbo here in the shop. Customer brought it in, he tried to restring it, and he was complaining that the tuners were so tight he couldn't turn them. They are a little stiff, quite frozen. But when he dropped it off, one of the first things I noticed, and like I say, I work on so much of this stuff that I see red flags immediately when I notice little things. So, first thing I noticed when he took it out of the case, and went to look at the serial number on it, or in this case, the factory order number, I noticed this little crack right here. And when you look over here, there's residue all the way up through here. That is a red flag for me. What I found was, I'm going to try to show you this, but it's very hard. What I found was, in here, the top, of course, is cracked along the side of the neck joint. And if let go long enough, what will actually happen is it will start pulling the neck in on this side. Your neck angle will change sideways and your string action will go up. There's a brace across here and a brace across here that actually support all this. This is cracked through underneath both of them. Just to show you, I'll slide a feeler gauge in here through underneath the first brace to show you. See if we get a shot of this without blinding you with the mirror. There, you can see how much the feeler gauge has gone through underneath the brace. Because that's tough to show you. Anyway, what I'm going to do is start on the repair of this brace and this crack. I'm going to have to glue it first. I have to glue the bulk of the crack all the way down through here. Glue this brace and this brace and clamp this flat all at the same time. Sounds like it should be fairly simple, huh? Well, there is not a lot of room to work in there. So, but like I say, I've done this a lot before. It's not the first time I've seen it. Deal with it a lot. So, here we go. Well, it may not look like a lot, but there's actually a lot going on right here. And I have found a new use for my little clamp that I use to support my binding ends when I'm doing fret work. So, we'll let that set. Like I say, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 glue joints right there being dealt with at one time. So now, we'll turn our attention to these. So, I have a few mixed feelings about these. With the color and the aging of everything else on the guitar, these buttons look awfully fresh. But I see no evidence of them being replacements. In fact, they don't even really look like the replacements that you get. If they've been replaced, it was some time ago and it was a very clean job. The tuners are the original Clusons. However, they're very clean as well. Of course, this guitar is in pretty good shape. Other than some checking and, a few things like, it's typical stuff. There's a lot of checking. Big checks. But you know, there's so many things here that I know is right. This has got me a little concerned. However, these tuners are locked up, which makes me wonder if the machinist wax that they used in them was heated up at one point to have the replacement buttons put on. I'm going to fix the tuners and get them working again. But I would research this a little bit. I have questions. Inquiring minds want to know. And I'm not letting it go. Alright, so let's get you caught up here a little bit. We've repaired this crack over here. We have the tuners taken care of. Actually, what I did was submerge the metal side, not the buttons, in a little bit of acetone and melted the wax loose that was in them, kind of tried to wash it out a little bit, and re-lubed the tuners and all that and put them back on so they're functional. So then I find what I thought was another, it's going to be very hard to show you. If you look right here, there's some finish checking. What I thought was checking right through here turns out to be another crack, another loose brace right here. So we're going to address that. Now, here we go. Our two cracks have been taken care of. We have lubricated and loosened up the tuners. So we restrung it after a good cleaning. It had to have a little bit of truss rod adjustment. Then everything else fell right in. The nut was exactly the right height. The bridge saddle was exactly the right height. So I didn't have to do that. So basically all I had to do on this one was fix a couple of cracks, loosen up the tuners and lube those, clean it up, restring it, and adjust it a little bit. I've said several times before, I got to know Gibson acoustics from the late 60s, Norland years, and early 70s stuff. And I had felt until probably late 80s that the only reason that Gibson was able to stay afloat was the 335s, Les Pauls, and the SGs. A lot of the acoustics I saw at that time, the J45s, the Hummingbirds, a lot of them were, you know, actually pretty poor sounding guitars from that time period. Then an older gentleman showed up with a 52 Gibson SJ he needed me to work on. Loudest guitar I think I've ever heard. Changed my opinion completely on Gibson acoustics. I just hadn't seen any of the older stuff. So, like I say, here's this one. It's pretty loud. We're not going to do any playing. I've done some fret work and a couple nuts here today, and my fingers are sore. I'm surprised that I can actually even hold this camera. A little shaky. Anyway, just wanted to take a look at that. So there you have it, a 58 Gibson Southern Jumbo put back into service. So till next time, play nice. I'll see you later.